do 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 do. I think we're live. Okay, hold on. I'm going to check to make sure that we are indeed coming through. Let's see here. Oh, look at that. I popped up for myself the minute I came onto Facebook. Uh-oh. Hair in my mouth. Okay. So, hi, everybody. I hope everybody's doing really fabulous, marvelous, lovely, wonderful. Shauna's here. Lupita, ¿cómo estás, chiquita? Everybody's here. If you're here, say hi. Make sure that let me know that the sound is coming through okay. And we're going to talk a little bit about anxiety today. And it's something that I know too much about. And I'll share with you the little background on why I know so much about anxiety and panic attacks, and would love to hear your experiences or anything that's worked for you, because what I'm hearing a lot lately is that people are experiencing a lot more anxiety and panic at the moment. You know, there's a lot going on. There's just a lot going on. And my glasses are crooked. This is terrible that I can see myself, and I'm not going to focus on that anymore. Okay. Hello, my friend, Christy Blakeway. Hi, honey. Good to see you. And Cheryl. Oh, Cheryl. I'm sure you're very, very relieved that your son is now back in the States and that you got to see him. So I was so happy to read that. You have so much support in our Celebrate Your Life Soul Fest group and so much love coming out to you. And I just want to acknowledge you because you've really been hanging in there, being quite the warrior and really I've been watching you, and you've been doing a great job keeping your stress level down. And there's Cynthia from Johannesburg, South Africa. Hi, Cynthia. So good to see you too. Oh, you woke up with anxiety. Aha. I kind of did too this morning, which is why I decided to talk about it. It's really interesting. At the beginning of all of this pandemic and quarantine and staying home, there was, of course, Cheryl, there was a great deal of sadness. And I need to keep my glasses at a certain angle so you don't see your glare. And there was, at least for me, and I heard from a lot of other people, that we were all feeling a high level of grief, of sadness, of what's happening in our world. And that was like that first reaction. And now I think that the sadness is kind of settled a little bit, or the grief is kind of settled. It's like all of these other emotions are coming up, not in place of it, but all these different feelings and emotions are happening right now. Selena. Hi, honey. So good to see you. We all need this. Yeah. Sonia. Yes, definitely. Oh, you did Reiki because I decided it wasn't mine. Good. That's a great way to put it. That's excellent, Cheryl. I'm going to talk about some basic things, but then that most of you probably already know about anxiety. But then I'm going to delve into some of the deeper ways. And so some of the surface ways we all know. Number one, don't wake up in the morning and immediately go and look on Facebook and look on Instagram. Yeah, so I made that mistake this morning. And I'm seeing what's going on in Seattle and in Portland. And it's like looking at the news. I've stopped looking at the news, but what has happened is that I have also been looking way too much at specific feeds that have to deal with the riots that are still happening, all the, challenges going on in Seattle and in Portland right now. And I don't even know about any other cities because I haven't even checked on it. I haven't delved into it because it really puts my stomach in knots seeing what's going on, because I absolutely believe that there's a peaceful solution for all of this bullshit that's happening in the world. On a global level. We've got all of these. Wendy Stutner's here. Hi, Wendy. Barbara's here too. Yeah. So I know that people think, you're just shading or yourself from the world or the news or whatever. And honestly, for me right now, I need to stay in my lane. And so that's what I'm going to ask each one of you. That's number one. If you're outside of your lane, if you're looking at other people's news feed, if you're getting yourself all caught up in the drama because people are arguing about everything. Like, I'm sorry, you have the wrong toe polish color on. I mean, I don't know. People are just arguing about everything, about masks, about this, about that, about the experts and what they say and what they don't say. And what I would recommend and what I have been doing is almost just staying cocooned in what I know to be true for me and staying centered in my own truth. And it's only when I get caught up in other people's stories or what's happening in other cities. And I get it that if you want to get involved, with the movement, I'm getting involved with Black Lives Matter in a totally different way that works for me, that stays in my lane, in my area of expertise and what I know to do for this, for the movement that I believe in. And whatever movement that is for you. But what I'm not doing is that I'm not getting caught up in things that will put my stomach in knots. Now, I know that many of you have been accused at some time or another of sticking your head in the sand, and I don't believe it's sticking your head in the sand. I believe what it is that, for me at least, and I'm hoping that this resonates for you, is that by staying in our lanes, we can be more productive. We can be more useful in our gifts and talents that support what we're doing in the world. Okay, I have to tip my glasses a little so all you don't see is glare. And I need my glasses. So that's one thing that I'm doing, is staying away from all of this, the drama that's coming out at us, the news feeds, the Facebook, the Instagram. The minute I go to Facebook now, I'm just jumping into our CYL Online Soul Fest group, or I'm looking at any responses people had or questions anybody had about anything, any of the programs that we're doing, or just want to chat. But I'm staying away from those conversations. And the mistake I made this morning is I jumped into those news feeds and I started to read what was going on. So I immediately became anxious. And of course, what I know to do is put my hand on my heart and slow my breath down. So as I shared at the beginning of this, I'm going to talk about some just light, gentle, easy techniques that all of you know, and then I'm going to delve into something a little bit more intense. So if it's anxiety due to, a situational, so, looking at, the news, getting a little bit triggered or a little bit upset by that, I will slow my breath down by touching my heart. You can touch your heart. You can put your hand on your heart. And by inhaling very slowly and exhaling very slowly. Now, I do that with my eyes open because what that does is it brings me back to the present moment. It brings me immediately back into present. Rather than having my eyes closed will immediately take me, that's my signal to go into meditation. Oh, we're going to meditate, eyes closed, or going to sleep, right? So immediately what I do is just put my hand on my heart. And we can all try it right now. Put your hand on your heart. You can touch your heart. And very slowly, for 5 seconds, take a slow, deep inhale for 5 seconds. Hold it and slowly exhale. And you can do an ah breath on the exhale. Ah. And you do that again. Inhale. And a gentle exhale. Ah. You see how that feels? You see how that feels in your body? It immediately brings you back into the present moment. It immediately slows your heart rate down, giving the signals to your brain that there's no panic, that there's nothing to be anxious about. And especially when you're looking at something, when you look at an object, when you do it and stay in the present moment. Gregg Braden taught us that exercise during a conversation that we had with Greg. So that's one thing that I do when it's immediately and I need to get out of feeling so hyper, so anxious in that moment. Now, next, what I will do is if I know it goes deeper. Now, how many of you have any type of anxiety that you feel has been ongoing? Like any kind of anxiety that you've had for years? Just say, give me a yes in the comments or give me a thumbs up. Just saying, no, don't give me a thumbs up. Just give me a yes. If you've had any type of anxiety that has been ongoing for you, any type of panic that you've had, any type of situations where you feel that there's been some type of limbic response, that your reaction is bigger than the situation. How many of you have ever felt that, where your reaction is bigger than the situation? Sean is saying yes. And the only reason you know that the reaction is bigger than the situation is because later on you'll go, why did I react so intensely? Hi, Ginger. That's how you know when you're reacting. And then later on you'll think, why did I react so strongly? What's going on a deeper level that I'm reacting, that I've got this trigger point? When having to go grocery shopping, it is always very stressful. Okay, well, that I think is situational for right now of what's going on. Would you say that's what's going on right now, Inma? Oh, you've had lots of bad ones when it comes to work. All right. And especially when it's reoccurring and you've done all those things in your spiritual toolbox and you're not getting out it. You're not able to get at the anxiety. Now, how many of you feel it? How many of you feel it in your stomach? That's the other thing I want to know. When you're feeling really anxious in your stomach, how many of you get that panic in the stomach or chest? Because it's someplace in your body. It resides someplace in your body. They know when I'm feeling that. They help to bring me calm. Okay, good, Shauna. So it's been going on for months. All right, so this is not going to fit for everybody, but I'm going to share this anyway. This is not going to be a fit for everyone, but here goes. Okay, so when I'm feeling a reaction that is bigger than the situation, so meaning that, let's say I go off the rails, I don't know, dealing with something simple, having a difficult conversation with someone, or no, that's not a good example, but you all know when your reaction is bigger than the situation. Here's a good example. Me getting on an airplane is like I can be unglued. I can become just a nervous hilaria. And so my reaction is bigger than the situation because there's really nothing going on. I'm just getting on an airplane. I'm just traveling to another city. I'm not talking about now during the pandemic. I'm talking about prior to. Right. Cheryl, I hear you. I totally get it. So what I've learned, when your reaction is bigger than the situation, there is something deeper going on. There is something old going on. There's a story that's been told that could be ancient. And so what I do is I go back to my past and I figure out where am I right now? And what is this triggering from the past? So it's called a limbic response. And that limbic response, so you all know, like between the ages of 0 and 7, that's when you develop in the world. That's when like fears, anxieties, things we develop our truth about what's happening around us in the world mostly between 0 and 7. And so if we develop things between 0 and 7, and I'm having a limbic response, I'm having a higher, big, huge panic attack reaction, then there's something else going on from that time period. Now, I don't necessarily have to go back and figure out what that is. But what I know is that it's not the mature, nurturing adult space. We are not in our adult chronological age space. We've age regressed to that time where the trigger occurred. You guys get that? I'm explaining this because, and then I'm going to get to how to deal with it. So for instance, if Inma was telling me that she's always had a challenge going to grocery stores, and this is situational probably for this situation, but let's just pretend Inma's saying that this has been going on for years. So what we would find out, what she would have to do the work to find out is, okay, what happened in a grocery store? Or what happened in a store where I didn't feel safe? What happened when I left my home to go do something? And then what we do is that we come back and we bring that very anxious, younger part of ourselves, and we get to reparent it. We get to we get to allow that part of ourselves to feel safe. Because if you ask yourself, when you're in anxiety, when you're feeling that trigger, you ask yourself, how old do I feel? 95% of the time, you've age regressed. And if that's the case, here's the exercise. Now, I cannot take credit for this work. This was years of studying, because I suffered from panic attacks, terrible, terrible panic attacks in my late 20s until my early 30s, to the point where I could not eat. And I developed a horrible eating disorder, I guess that's what you call it, where I was barely 100 pounds. And so, going from therapist to therapist and psychologist and this and that, and I finally hit on something that really handled it and that got to the core of it. And it all had to do with, I'd had a very, very toxic relationship, and that relationship triggered old stuff. It triggered a limbic response inside of me and set me just spiraling down until I found the process that works. Now, here it is, and you don't have to go through years of therapy to get it, because I would venture to say, if you're watching my video right now, you have all done work on yourselves. You all have meditated. You all know how to do yoga. You all know how to do the deep breathing exercises. You've all done this. You've read all the fabulous books, Marianne, Deepak, and you're still feeling it because the core issue has not been addressed. So here's what I do. Okay, Inma, I see what you're saying. And Cheryl, yours comes from been doing a lot of mother work for the last, but still struggling. Okay. This piece literally saved my life. I am not kidding you. And it took me a long time to develop it, but I was really in a bad place. So it's reparenting that wounded inner child part of ourselves. Now, I know it's going to sound cliche, and I know it's going to sound so trite, like, oh, I've done inner child work. But inner child work is not to be glossed over in a way that doesn't allow you to do this probably as long as you need it, and probably for the rest of your life if you've got any type of deep childhood woundings or toxic mom or dad or parenting or whatever it was, or abandonment. It's a way of creating wholeness between your loving, nurturing adult, the woman or the man that you are, with that scared, frightened part of yourself. And so what I do is this. I actually, starts in the gut. Exactly. The anxiety starts in the gut. So what I do is that I will put, Penny, hi, Penny. I put myself in a chair, and then I have another chair facing me. And then I sit in one of the chairs, and I'll put maybe a pillow or a stuffed animal in the other chair. And I'm in my adult wanting to be curious with this frightened part of myself. I'm going to use the terminology inner wounded child because that is how I've come to understand it. And so I will put myself in a chair and ask that part of myself, what's going on? Are you okay? What's happening? And then I physically move myself into that other chair while I'm holding the pillow or the stuffed animal, and I allow myself to speak. And usually what comes out is, I'm scared. I'm so scared. Or whatever comes out for you, allow that voice to be heard. But now here's the key. Putting the pillow down, you go back into the other chair as the loving, nurturing adult that you are, your real chronological age, not the age that you're feeling, but the real chronological age. And you have to lovingly and gently and with kindness and compassion dialogue with that part of you that is frightened, that is feeling the fear, and lovingly embrace that part of yourself. I actually will pick up the pillow. I will let her know that she's safe, that I'm going to do everything in my power to protect her, to let that part of yourself know that you are running the show gently, in a gentle way, that she or he doesn't have to be frightened, that you're going to take over, that you've got this. And to continue to have that back and forth dialogue until you feel this sense of ease. Until you feel, and you will feel a sense of ease. I promise you that. Because what you're doing is that you're creating a relationship. This is called inner bonding. And that is not a term that I created. That is 100% credit to Dr. Margaret Paul. Dr. Margaret Paul, whose work I love. Her work saved my life. I'm teaching you in a very, very abridged version. And then as you begin to develop this relationship with this frightened part of yourself, this inner child, this wounded inner part of yourself, you start to feel a sense of more wholeness inside of you. You begin to feel more bonded, more connected. And the key is to continue doing this every single day, even if it's 5 minutes a day. And now I don't necessarily need to do the chair work. I can sit, and I've been doing this for a long time, and hold my hand on that part of myself. Hold my hand on my stomach. So that's where I feel it for me, and breathe and talk to her. And this is what creates this wholeness inside of ourselves, because we think, because we're 50, 60, 70 years old, that we're supposed to have our shit together, right? And you've done so much spiritual work on yourself. You've prayed, and you've either been, to temple, to synagogue, to church, to all of the celebrate your life events, to everything. And there's this little piece, if you're still experiencing that triggered, intense limbic response anxiety, this softens the edge around it. And actually, I don't even think it softens the edge. I think it heals it. At least for me, it does. It has. And then there are other things that I still get triggered about. I still get triggered getting on an airplane. I still haven't completely healed that piece. And I still work on it. So it's as Janice always tells me in my office, she always says to me, we're a work in progress when I'm really hard on myself. You're always working on things. It's okay. And she's right. We're always working on ourselves. We're always noticing, what's where can I clean up the edges, right? Oh, Momo Joe, I haven't seen you in a while. Hi, honey. Oh, Anya, I hope this is helping you. I think it's Ania or Anya. I share this, and it's a very vulnerable thing for me to share because it was a very, very tough time in my life when I went through this. I did not think I was ever going to come out of it, ever. I never thought I was going to ever be able to eat normally again or function without panic attacks. And I would refuse to take medication because if I could take medication, then I could have eaten. Right. You understand what I said, what I meant there. I just couldn't do anything. So this is really, really what got me through it. And it really does work. Also, doing some writing, doing some journaling with the opposite hand. So I'm right-handed. So I did a lot of journaling with my left hand about, and while I was in anxiety, and it helps for you to have more compassion for that part of yourself. And at first I couldn't relate to that part of myself, that wounded part of myself, or that inner child, because I was very, very hard on her. And so I had to place one of my nieces in the chair visually to be able to access that loving, compassionate part of myself at first. You understand what I'm saying? So if you're not feeling compassion for yourself, if you're having a hard time getting to being kind and gentle and loving to yourself, put in a little child at first that you know and that you love, whether it's a niece or nephew or one of your own children. Because if it were one of your own children or a niece or nephew, you would embrace that child and hold them and make certain that they were safe and continuously check in with them and love, love, love them. And that's what I'm asking you to do, is to learn to nurture, love, protect, and support that part of yourself that is feeling anxiety, that is feeling frightened. Yes, thank you. It's funny, your link just came on my phone. Hugs from Germany. Oh, good to see you from Germany. Thank you for joining us. Oh, Michelle is here and Danielle is here. Hi. So on that note, I want to share something with you that's happening starting on Saturday. Saturday, we have partnered with Denise Linn and Meadow Lynn. And Denise has created this most awesome, life-changing program. And it's called Let It Go. Let It Go. And that's exactly what we are going to be doing. So for 28 days, she is going to be taking you through a journey of letting go old emotional baggage, mental chatter, and doing physical clutter clearing. So she's combining it with all together, emotional, mental, and physical decluttering of our lives. And I'm going to be taking it alongside everybody. It's a 28-day course. It's super inexpensive. She has discounted this enormously. They normally start at $599 and go upwards to like $1,200, $1,300 when she does these 28-day courses. And it's only $127 for 28 days. And we've got we have over 700 people right now who have joined the class. And it's being taught on Facebook, and also you'll get everything in your email, in your inbox, as well as Denise's teaching at least 3 times a week, doing presentations in the private Facebook group. So I don't know if anybody's out there, if they can post the link to it. You can just go to our homepage at celebrateyourlife.com. If you go to celebrateyourlife.com, you'll get to click on it and see all the information. But I'm super excited about this because this is just another level of releasing anxiety, releasing all of those old emotions that have a hold on you, all of the emotional old baggage that you've been carrying around. And we're going to be clearing that out in a major, major way. I think Tanya just posted the link, the direct link to the page. So it's celebrateyourlife.com, and she's got the link right there, /let-it-go. So come and join us. We're going to have a fantastic time. There's over 700 people in the class already, and we are just going to have a blast. And the most important thing is that we're going to clean up the edges of all the old emotional baggage. We're going to let go of all of that. We're going to let go of all the mental chatter. Definitely, just check it out. Just look at the page. And Denise has written a beautiful letter and talking about why this time is so auspicious in doing this kind of work and why it's important to do this kind of work now. So Inma, just go ahead and check out the link and you'll see. And it's super inexpensive. I mean, she's discounted because of what's going on. She's discounted this enormously. So, and you don't have to fly anywhere. You don't have to have travel expenses. And we've already created a fantastic community in the group. So come and join us. We're going to have a great time. And it's starting this Saturday. So you only have 5 more days to register until Friday. We're cutting off registration on Friday. So make sure you come and join us. All right. Well, I hope this exercise was helpful today. I know that I've been getting lots of messages. People are messaging me on Facebook that they're dealing with a lot right now. And this anxiety exercise and the deep breathing exercise I know will help you. And of course, being in the class too, it'll be so fabulous. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me today. And I'll see you soon. Definitely. Mwah!